Okay, we're going to graph inequalities, and we're going to use the point slope form and also standard form. We're just going to do it all in one lesson so that we finish up with this. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on inequalities, and I think it all makes sense together. So we'll start with the point slope form, which is y minus y1. What happened to my pen? There we go. And it equals m times x minus x1. Remember, the minus signs are part of the equation and not necessarily part of the point x1, y1. So here's your little steps right here. Start at the x1, y1. Use the slope. Do rise and run, plot points, and then find the area. So our equations are already in point slope form. So it's very easy to see that the slope is 2 for number 1. Oh, and I was going to remind you, dashed lines are less than or greater than. Dotted lines, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to is solid. Less than or equal to is below. And greater than and equal to is above. Okay, so number 1, the slope is 2. The point that we have, x1 is 4. Remember, the minus sign is part of the equation, so it does not go with the 4. And my y1 is 1. So if I find 4, 1 on my graph, I can use my slope to go up 2 and over 1 and find other points. I can go down 2 and over the other way 1. Okay, so there's my points, and I can draw my line. It's greater than or equal to, so it's going to be solid. And that is not even close to on my points, but you get the idea. And since it's greater than, this part is which is going to be shaded because my y values are greater than my intercept. And 0, 0 is one of my points, and 5, negative 5 is not. Okay, number 2. Okay, the slope is negative 3. One of my points is, now it's plus 1, plus 2, and plus 1, so my negative signs are going to go with my number. So I have negative 2, negative 1. So if I find negative 2, negative 1, and my slope is negative, which means I'm going to go up 3 and over 1 to the left. Here's my points. And I can go down 3 and over the other way. So here's my line. It's going to be a pretty steep line. And since my y is less than, I want my y values to be less than the intercept. So they're going to be over here. 3, negative 3 is in my solution set, and 0, 0 is not. Okay, number 3. My slope is 1/4. My point is going to be negative 1, 2, because it's the opposite sign from what's in my equation. So if I find negative 1, 2, my slope is going to go up 1 over 4. So I'm going to go up 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 is right there. I can go down 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 is right here. So I'm going to have a pretty flat line that goes through negative 1, 2. And it's y is greater than, so I'm shading up here. So 3, positive 3 is on my line, and since it's a greater than or equal to, the points on the line are solutions. Okay, so number 4 I need to remember is going to be a dotted line because I'm going to forget. Okay, my slope is negative 1/2. My point that I have is going to be 3, 4. So I'm going to find 3, 4. My slope is negative, so it's going to be way up here in this little corner. So I'm going to go up 1 over 2 and down 1 over 2. So my line's way up here, and it's dotted. And it's not very close. So there's my dotted line. And since it's less than, it's pretty much the whole graph, because everything on my graph right here is below the dotted line I just made. So 3, 6 is not in my solution set, but 0, 0 is. The thing I forget most is when to do a dotted line. Okay, so now if you have a standard form, basically we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use that cover up and we're going to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept, and we're going to draw a line between there. So I'm really not going to worry about the slope. And then I'm going to follow what my sign tells me to do as far as less than, greater than, solid, or dashed. So this one also is going to have a dashed line, and I'm going to forget. So I'm going to draw that right there. So for my x-intercept, y is 0, and I cover that up, and I have 8, x equals 12. Well, it's greater than, but we'll get to that in a minute. X is going to be 12 over 8, which is 3 over 2. So I'm going to have a point at 3 over 2, 0. That's 1 point. And then for my y, I'm going to cover up my x, and I end up with 4y equals 12. Y equals 3. So I'm going to have 0, 3 is going to be my other point. So 0, 3 is right here. 3 halves is 1 1/2. 0 is right here. So if I draw, so I go up 3 over 1 1/2 basically. Okay, so I'm going to draw my line. It's got a negative slope. And it's a dotted. See, did I tell you I was going to do that? I knew I was going to do that. Let's see if I can erase it. Look at that. Okay, it's a dotted line. And I forgot. Okay, and it is greater than. So I'm going to shade over here where my y values are higher. Okay, number 6. I'm going to, this one's going to be a solid line. So if I cover up my y, then I have 2x equals 10, x equals 5. So I have a point at 5, 0. And if I make my x equals 0, then I have minus 4. So my y value is going to be negative 10 over 4, which is negative 5 over 2. So that's like 2.5. 0, negative 5 over 2. So 0, 5 is right. 5, 0 is right here. And 0, negative 2.5 is like right here. I'm going to connect those two lines. So basically I go up 2.5 and over 5, which means my next point's going to be right there. And it's a solid line. And my y values are less than that, so they're going to be down here at the bottom. Okay, hopefully that kind of makes sense. We're just doing those inequalities. We're just using different forms of the equation. So when we have 5x plus 2y is less than 40, if you remember, the slope is minus a over b. A is 5 and b is 2. So we're going to have negative 5 halves is going to be our slope. The y-intercept, because I have y is drinks, and x is popcorn. For my y-intercept, it's going to be no popcorn, only drinks. And if I get no popcorn, then I can buy 20 drinks. So it's going to be 0, 20. And when I look at this little graph over here, I think I can't count by ones because there's not enough. So I'm going to count by twos. So I'm going to have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, which is, of course, right in the middle of where I wrote that word. So that's going to be my y-intercept right there. My x-intercept is going to be no drinks, only popcorn. So if I'm only buying popcorn, then 5x equals 40, x equals 8. So I can buy 8 popcorns if I don't buy any drinks. So since I'm counting by twos, 2, 4, 6, 8 is going to be right here. My slope is -5 over 2, so I go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 2. Oh, not 5, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Oh, now I'm totally confused. Now I'm totally confused. Okay, forget that. Although that's about right. If I draw this, that's about right. Okay, so there's my line, and of course it should be dashed because it's less than, no equal to. So let's try that again. So I did do the right little line right there. I just wasn't confident. Okay, and it's less than, so all my solutions are under here. Okay, and anything on the line is $40, and it says everything has to be less than $40. So nothing should be on the line. Hey, what happened? Oh, okay, so 2, 6 would be 2 drinks, no, 2 popcorns, 6 drinks, which would be $10 plus $12, which is $32, which is okay. So it could be a solution because it's less than $40. And if you graphed it, it would be 2 popcorns, 2, 4, 6 drinks would be right around there, which is in our solution set. Now, if we do 6, 5, that means 6 popcorns and 5 drinks. Did I? No, I did do it right. Okay, so that's going to be 6 times 5. That's going to be $30 in popcorn, $10 in drinks. 40 is a big no because it has to be less than 40. And that's equal to, and that is not allowed. So that one's no. Okay, so now to find the graph that represents that inequality, first of all, I'm going to have to put it in either standard form or point slope form, and it's not in either one. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in standard form, I think. Oh, maybe I'll just put it in point slope form. Slope intercept form. Hey, I have so many choices. Okay, so let's do 4x. I don't really have any room over here. I'm going to do it at the bottom. 4x plus 20. X plus 20 minus 3y. 4x plus 20 minus 3y equals how much? Oh, it's greater than or equal to -4. All right. Greater than or equal to -4. Okay. So I'm going to subtract my 20. Man, this is, I am, are you dizzy? Because I'm dizzy. All right, so I'm going to take 20 away from both sides. So I have 4x minus 3y is greater than or equal to -24. So I know I have a solid line, so it's not going to be D or B. And I know that my slope is going to be positive because my slope is going to be -4 over -3, which is going to be 4 over 3. And my intercepts are going to be, if I cover up, x is going to be -6. Y is going to be, I have a -3 and a -24, so it's going to be +8. So let's see which one, that was weird. Let's see which one has -6 and +8. Looks like they both do. So my y is going to be greater than, so it's going to be C. Okay, let's look at the last one. So if you'll notice in this equation, it's not really even standard form because everything's over on the left-hand side and nothing's really on the right-hand side. But let's look at our equation, let's look at our graph, and I see that I have a point at -6, 0. I have a point at 0, -3. And when I'm looking at these choices, they're all divisible by 5. So I'm going to go ahead and divide by 5. And I'm going to end up with x plus 2y minus 6 is greater than 0. So, and I'm just doing D just because. I don't know that that's my answer. It just was the easy place for me to write. So D is x plus 2y minus 6. So let's look over here at our points again. This is my x. No, that's not right. Wow, this is going to make me grumpy. Okay, so let me just finish off with this D thing because now I'm kind of stuck. Okay, I have x plus 2y. If I add 6 to both sides, I'm going to end up with that. And if that's my answer, if I cover up my x, my y is 3, but not negative. And if I cover up my y, my x is 6, but not negative. So it looks like I'm going to have either my x and y are negative or my 30 is negative. So I don't think D is my answer. But let's look at C. If I divide everything by 5, I have minus x minus 2y is greater than 6 because I'm going to move my 6 over to the right. So now if I cover up my x, my y is -3, and if I cover up my y, my x is -6. So this one is looking pretty promising. If I do A, I'm going to end up with minus x plus 2y is greater than -6. If I cover up my x, my y is -3, but if I cover up my y, my x is positive. So my x and my y have to have the same, either both be positive or both be negative for this to work out. So C really has to be my answer. And that was a little complicated, but it works out. There's probably an easier way to do it, and I'm going to think about it. And when I see you tomorrow, I'm going to show you and go, oh my gosh, there's such an easy way to do that. But I don't like it right now. I still don't like it right now. Because C has a positive slope and this has a negative slope. Oh no, it doesn't, because it's negative, -1 over -2. So that's going to be positive, but then there's still a negative. Okay, I still like C. All right, we'll talk about it again tomorrow, but I think 13 probably has an easier way to do it. See if you can figure it out. Hoo-ah.